the Templars and the wisdom of the Taoists. Narrated by Zoran the Dragon. Greetings once more, dear traveler. Today, we embark on a journey eastward, soaring beyond the deserts of the Middle East and deep into the misty mountains of China. As we follow the path of the Knights Templar, our story takes an unexpected turn toward the teachings of the Taoists, the ancient sages of the East who held the secrets of balance, harmony, and the flow of life itself. You see, the Templars were not just warriors of steel and faith, they were seekers of wisdom, thirsty for knowledge wherever they could find it. It is said that during their travels, the Templars made contact with many mystical traditions, not only in the Middle East but also in the Far East. One such tradition that caught their attention was Taoism, an ancient philosophy rooted in the balance of nature and the flow of the universe. Now, Taoism is quite different from the formal religions the Templars knew in Europe. It doesn't focus on gods, rituals, or doctrines in the same way. No, Taoism is a way of life, a path that follows the natural order of things, what the Taoists call the Tao. It is the way of the universe, the underlying force that governs all existence, from the smallest pebble to the mightiest dragon. Yes, my kind is quite familiar with the Tao, for we have soared through its currents for millennia, dancing with the stars and swimming in the rivers of time. But for the Templars, this was something new and deeply intriguing. The first lesson the Templars learned from the Taoists was Wu Wei, or the principle of effortless action. Imagine a river flowing down a mountain. It doesn't struggle or force its way. It simply follows the natural course, finding the path of least resistance. The Taoists taught the Templars that true strength comes not from force, but from aligning oneself with the natural flow of life. For the Templars, who were trained in discipline and combat, this was a revelation. They had always been taught to fight, to push forward, no matter the obstacle. But here, they learned that sometimes, the greatest victories come not from struggle, but from yielding, from letting go and trusting in the flow of the universe. This wisdom resonated with the Templars on a deep level. They had already begun to understand the importance of balance in their lives between their duties as warriors and their spiritual practices. But the Taoists showed them that this balance extended far beyond the battlefield. It was about finding harmony in every aspect of life, whether in meditation, combat, or simply walking through the forest. They learned to watch the natural world with new eyes, seeing the flow of the Tao in the wind, the trees, and the stars above. The Taoists were also masters of internal alchemy, the practice of cultivating one's internal energy, or qi, to achieve harmony and longevity. Yes, qi, the life force that flows through all living beings. The Templars had heard of such concepts in the West, but the Taoists took this understanding to new depths. They taught the Templars that by working with their own qi, they could transform not just their bodies, but their minds and spirits as well. One of the most profound practices the Taoists shared with the Templars was the art of Qigong, a series of exercises designed to balance and strengthen the body's energy. Through slow, deliberate movements and deep breathing, the Templars learned to feel the flow of qi within them, aligning themselves with the greater flow of the Tao. For warriors who had spent years training their bodies for combat, this internal practice was both foreign and fascinating. They discovered that by cultivating inner stillness, they could achieve greater clarity in battle, greater focus in their spiritual pursuits, and a deeper sense of peace. But perhaps the most important lesson the Taoists taught the Templars was the idea of yin and yang. Now, you may have heard of these two forces before. They are the dualities that exist in all things. Yin is the passive, receptive, and dark aspect, while yang is the active, assertive, and light aspect. Together, they create harmony, for neither can exist without the other. The Taoists showed the Templars that life is not about choosing one side over the other, but about embracing both. For a warrior, this meant understanding that strength must be balanced with compassion, that action must be tempered with stillness. The Templars, who had been raised to see the world in terms of good and evil, began to see life in a more nuanced way. They realized that even in battle, there must be balance. They learned to approach their enemies not with hatred, but with understanding. After all, within each of us lies both light and darkness, and it is in recognizing this duality that true wisdom is found. They began to embody the Taoist principle of balance in all things, whether it was in strategy, meditation, or in their daily lives. There was also another teaching the Taoists shared with the Templars, one that has become one of my favorites. It is the principle of the uncarved block, or PU. To the Taoists, this represents the state of pure potential, the natural, unshaped state of all things before they are molded by human hands or ideas. The Templars, who had spent their lives striving for perfection, found great peace in this concept. They began to understand that sometimes the greatest power comes not from achieving, but from simply being. By allowing themselves to return to this state of simplicity, they could reconnect with the Tao, the source of all things. As the Templars returned to Europe, they brought with them these Taoist teachings, though they kept much of it hidden from the world. In their quiet moments, away from the hustle of their duties, they practiced Qigong, meditated on the balance of yin and yang, and embraced the flow of the Tao in their daily lives. Their connection to the Taoist wisdom remained an inner journey, a path that shaped them long after their battles had ended. Through the Taoists, the Templars learned that the greatest mastery was not of the sword, but of the self. They discovered that true strength lies in harmony, and true wisdom comes from knowing when to act and when to yield. This, my friend, is the essence of the Tao, the path that flows through all things, connecting us to the stars, the mountains, and the quiet river that winds through the valley below. As we close this chapter, I hope you, too, take these lessons to heart. Whether you find yourself in the midst of a storm, or in the quiet stillness of a mountain's peak, remember that the Tao is always with you, guiding you toward balance and harmony. And who knows, perhaps, like the Templars, you will find that the greatest journey is not one of conquest, but of returning to the source, the uncarved block, the flow of life, the way of the Tao.